Hey guys, Majin Obama here, and today I want to talk about 2XKO, formerly Project L. I gotta give thanks, of course, to the guys that brought me out there. Riot, big ups to you guys. We don't get a lot of chances to, we don't get a lot of invitations to stuff in general, really, us out here. So it meant a lot to be able to get out there and have a chance to be able to get more hands-on time with the game, like my peers did. And so the focus of this video is not going to be character-based, but more just kind of like my general feeling and thoughts that I've had since the trip. And so I got a lot of time with the game, and I felt way more comfortable and kind of when you touch the game. If you remember when I was talking about this a while ago, I got a chance to play the game very briefly at EVO last year, like 5 minutes or so. And what stuck out the most about the game at that time to me was the way it felt to move around in. But the problem was I felt myself constantly trying to do motions, even though the game doesn't have them. This is a game with simple inputs, and as complicated as it gets, it's really just doing a down button input. I keep trying to do that kind of stuff, or mistiming the inputs and stuff like that, but by day 2 I was a lot more comfortable with it, and it felt good. And that was part of my feedback. Like, I'm naturally a hard sell for this kind of game, one that kind of sacrifices inputs, options, those kinds of things. But after sitting down with it for as long as we got a chance to, I got an answer to a question that I posed a long time ago. For years at this point, there's been this rhetoric and all this discourse about Project L is going to save these games, and it's going to do this, and you have all these people putting this game on a pedestal, giving it all this unfair kind of like pressure, that people have kind of mounted against it before they even know what the game is, right? When to me, core question that you should be asking at the very beginning is what if the game is what if the game's fun? And I kind of got my answer to it, because as you'll see in future updates on this channel, I got a lot of time to play, and by day 2 especially, I realized that the game, for me, in spite of the how I felt about the inputs or whatever, what I realized is that the game scratches an itch that I noticed, because I was for a while playing solo, and I was just doing training mode for hours, and I felt excited in a way that I haven't felt in a while. And when you're going to lunch or you're getting dinner and your mind's thinking about options of the character or setups, different stuff like that, I realize it scratches the same itch that I haven't felt in the same way since a Marvel 3, or to a lesser degree DBFZ and X, or those kinds of games. And make no mistake, this is a team game. It's definitely a product of the people that make it. Characters feel really, really different and unique, though, is the cool thing, and they all have really unique developed toolkits, and that's kind of what makes it interesting. I think, especially if you're a fan of the games that I mentioned, I think this game will have, you're going to realize too, I think it does scratch an itch, that sandbox game kind of feel, especially early on like that. It satisfies a desire to create like that, and explore. So what the game sacrifices in controls, to me, I think it makes up for with kind of character depth and character options and how developed they are. It's similar to Granblue, right? Because the game is naturally more toned down, simpler. Something that I noticed in the jump between Granblue Vanilla and Granblue versus Rising, which were just released, and this is gameplay specific, the cast being so much more developed and having so many more characters with unique tools really did a lot for that game. And I think I kind of think about that with this game too. I think something about this game that's really going to make it shine and kind of push it is going to be the cast, because so far, and you could tell, especially with what you've seen so far, there's a very high level of fidelity with the characters that they built in the game. Everybody looks and sounds great. There's options, there are personalities that you see represented in other Runeterra titles shine in a fighting game toolkit in this game. So I think that having a robust cast of unique and all kind of different characters, I think will really, really do a lot for this. But the other thing too for me was, and I had a feeling it would be this way, but I kind of underestimated just how fun it would be. The 2v2 is, I'm saying it now, I don't know how this is going to play out. I feel like the 2v2 aspect of the game is going to be ultimately what pushes it. It's hard to even explain, but it's almost like you're bringing your FPS voice comm experience offline in a fighting game. Having to partner with somebody and communicate what you guys are doing, whether you're tagging, whether you're calling an assist, being able to have a partner with you and you have to actively communicate in order to win, execute a strategy like that, that to me is a unique kind of feeling that you're not gonna get. Like I said, we haven't had this in a game since SFXT. It feels like the implementation of it in this title is ultimately like a really unique experience, and I could see this really driving the game forward. And that brings me, I guess, to kind of like, these are just kind of like thoughts that I'm just thinking aloud here, right? This game is kind of almost a given, or it's like expected to be played and supported by fighting game players. It's a team game though, right? So if you think about it, there's been so much discourse and combo over the years about inputs, these games being too hard, these games are easy, but blah, 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 blah. Team games specifically have gotten a lot of flack, I think, over the past few years because of ideas like you have to learn more than one character, fighting games are difficult, learning more than one character difficult, that's double the difficulty. No way, I don't want any part of this. But in spite of these claims, I can look back to DBFZ, I can look back to Marvel. Those games existed and they did quite well for themselves on some level at least, right? So my thing is, while the gameplay is at its core going to be something that fighting game players can get into, I'm confident in that, is the simple input system and the IP strength going to be enough to entice players from League, Valorant, TFT who don't play these games? Is that enough, like, to get them to play? Question I've been asking myself since I left is, if Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out today, 2024, how would that play out? You know, would some of those same talking points be made about that game today? I don't know. Teammates are going to be great. I think the 2v2 especially, it's going to be great for top level in the event spectacle. But another thought that I've had is, like, how's it going to work on the individual level offline? Obviously, with net play, you know, matchmaking is going to alleviate the issue. They'll just pair you up with people. But I look forward to seeing features that develop around the game as a package. And whether that's with the net play, whether that's stuff like voice chat features, some kind of comms, it makes me kind of like think about how that's going to go down. Do we need team matchmaking offline? You know, could you imagine a world where you go to your local or something like that and everybody's swiping on an app to find a duo to play this game? You know, something like that. It's just a thought I've had. And all that said, I still stand by what I said when this game got reintroduced to us a couple years ago, and that I want to see how the package around the game develops over time to become a product that can make waves for the genre on a wider scale. And I want to see how they can do that in a way that only a company with the IP strength and resources that Riot has. You know, I think that's one of the few companies you can look to kind of deliver an experience like that can have resounding impact on an industry, really. And that's kind of separate from my own personal feelings as a player too, right? I'm saying, like, take yourself out of it and say, like, you can look at this product objectively and say, like, this game has a chance to really, I think, make a big impact industry-wide. And I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how they rise to that occasion and how they meet that challenge. That's what's going to be really interesting for me. As a player, though, I don't think you guys should be worried about the gameplay. This game has versus team game DNA. It was very evident to me, and by the end, I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. You know, I'm feeling it for sure. Like I said, I'm curious to see what the future plans are for it. I know you guys are going to get a chance to play at EVO Japan at the events that they've announced already. All I can say for right now is stay tuned to this channel. I'll be able to deliver some stuff to you guys maybe soon. Let's just keep it at that. But with that said, is there anything in particular you guys are thinking about with this game, or anything that really stands out in particular to you right now with the recent updates that they put out there? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Everybody be easy.